So today I'll be talking about cells and tissue engineering. For general information, cells and tissue engineering is an application of physical and engineering principles to better understanding and controlling cells and tissue behavior. Cellular engineering applies the principle and methods of um, engineering to the problems of cells and molecular biology of both the basic and applied nature. Tissue engineering is an interdisciplinary science that involves the use of biological sciences and engineering to develop tissues that restore, maintain, or enhance tissue function. Um, the important is because it helps with the study of disease progression, determine prognosis, and identify the best treatment for different diseases. It could help in figuring out what causes certain disease and how to treat those, and whether the treatment work. The pros for cellular and tissue engineering is it is a major help to disease progression. Studying it could lead to more efficient treatments, and it could develop more different methods of treatment that could be safer and more convenient for the patients, and it could save and improve lives. For the cons of tissue engineering, it has questionable ethical stance in practice, and because people have been worrying because of like regulating genes are not natural and such. It could have the presence of hidden diseases or illnesses in the base tissue that is used for healing. Um, Imperfect development could lead to inconsistent and inaccurate results. For some of the most outstanding technology introduced in cells and tissue engineering are CRISPR, 3D printing, biomaterials, etc. For CRISPR, it's basically a tool that target a DNA locus and could use to edit or just delete them, or that could use to solve um, many underlying conditions that was due to errors of the gene. 3D printing and tissue engineering is really important because it could be utilized to assemble functional tissue from cells and scaffolding forming materials. For tissue engineering, the ideal 3D printed construct would be a cell directing structure on which cells could migrate and proliferate to form a functional tissue. For biomaterial, it could develop functional graphs that direct cellular responses, regulate the formation of and integration of multiple and stratified tissue types, and maintaining long-term functionality when introduced into the body. Cell and tissue engineering is a relatively newer field of study comparing to other fields of engineering, which it has really promising increasing growth within the field, and the average annual income of a job under tissue engineering is around $81,000. This is a graph of tissue engineering market by size, and there are a lot of applications, and the demand is growing from 2014, predicting into 2025. A distinctive feature of tissue engineering is to regenerate patients' own tissue and organs that are entirely free for biocompatibility and low biofunctionality, as well as severe immune rejection. Owing to the outstanding advantages, tissue engineering is often considered as the ultimate ideal medical treatment. These are some achievement that was made in the field of cellular and tissue engineering. Native polymers such as acellular matrix Collagen, gelatin, hyaluronic acid, silk alginate, and chitosan are well-known sources for preparing scaffolding. Term stands for tissue engineering and regenerative medicine. Ceramics being one of the important components in bones and teeth, calcium phosphate-based material have attracted substantial attention in term. Ceramics are efficient to construct the cartilage-bone interface, making them promising materials for the regeneration of osteochondral defect. An osteochondral defect refers to a focal area of damage that involves both of the cartilage and a piece of underlying bone. These can occur from an acute traumatic injury to the knee or an underlying disorder of the bone. Last but not least, we have microfluidics. Basically, the flexibility of the technology allows the preparation of multi-structured fibers, such as hollow multi-layer grooves that could replicate a cell. Applications in the field of cells and tissue engineering, but I'll be focusing on two, which is cancer study and defense medicine. Tissue engineering has evoked new hopes for the cure of organ failures and tissue loss by creating functional substitute in the laboratories. Besides various innovations, tissue engineering also provide new technology platforms to study mechanisms and angiogenesis and tumor cells growth, as well as potential tumor cell spreading in cancer research. For defense medicine, recent reports have suggested the greater therapeutic effects of the anti-inflammatory, tropic, paracrine, and immune modulatory functions associated with stem cells, which induce them to restore normal healing and tissue regeneration by modulating immune reactions, regulating inflammation, and suppressing fibrosis. These are some of the careers I have found under cells and tissue engineering. We have stem cell biologists, which conducts experiments that lead to an understanding of cells and diseases such as cancer. Um, and they made around $76,000 annually. The second one is mammalian gene regulation. They ensure that the appropriate genes are expressed at the proper times, uh, and they made around $51,000 annually. For the third career, I chose 3D printer biomedical engineer, which operate 3D printing of parts that needed for biomedical designs, and that depends on what are you working with. The average is around $60,000 annually. The last one is tissue processing technician. They're responsible for maintaining the proper storage, processing, and manufacturing of quality allograft, and they get paid around $61,000 annually. And these are for the image that I would say that to represent the work that they're doing somehow. For stem cell, we can see the developing technology that they are using for it, and the gene regulation is basically CRISPR, where you can watch and regulate genes and editing them in general. The third one with the skull is basically a 3D printing parts of a missing skull that could fit into the original one. It is basically prosthetic, but just internal. And the last one is tissue processing tech, which process the tissue to make it more usable in the studies and such.